check out Courtside Connect. It's officially launched. I'm going to link the account in the description. Hello, everybody. Ryker Richard here, reporting in on a 111-98 victory against the Los Angeles Lakers in no longer the ACC. I'm still adjusting to this. The Scotiabank Arena doesn't have a nice ring to it, but finally, this is a struggling Lakers team. But that's not the case in point here. The Toronto Raptors defeated a LeBron team in Toronto. I'm just going to let that sink in for a second because it should really, this is a big milestone. The psychological effect that LeBron James has on the Toronto Raptors, and he's had ever since he returned to the East and joined the Cavaliers, it's been phenomenal. So for them to finally get over this absolute hurdle in another victory against the Lakers, they've already defeated them this season, but it's good to see. It's good to see on home soil that the Raptors were able to go out there and get it done. But before we talk about LeBron James and what the Lakers were able to come up with in response to a really good, well-rounded game for the Toronto Raptors, we'll talk about the highlight, the obvious, biggest, notable thing that happened in this game was Norm God, the explosion. And he's a guy that we talk about a lot, I would say, in the majority of our podcasts. And as everybody knows, Ben, he's not able to be on the podcast tonight. He's swarmed with some computer science stuff, but he's very high on Norman Powell and his ability and his potential. But I usually take a step back because I'm saying his inconsistencies, yes, he brings a lot of things to the table, but his inconsistencies don't lead me to believe that he'll be an X factor or critical piece come playoff time. I would be more reliant upon a guy like Patrick McCaw, who can actually give you consistency from what he's called to do. Because Norman Powell, let's start with Patrick McCaw. Patrick McCaw, night in and night out, you know that he's not going to give you an offensive explosion. He might knock down his open threes, and he's going to give you relentless defense. Norman Powell, he can go off on a scoring spree. He has the athleticism and defensive ability to be good as or better than Patrick McCaw. But on the flip side, he can also turn over the ball a bunch, take, ridiculous shots, try to do really too much on offense. Tonight wasn't one of those nights. So we're going to celebrate what happened here tonight when Norman Powell shot 50% from the field. I think he had 20 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a block. He was really stat sheet stuffing. He was going crazy. And this is a critical time for him. Now, there's a lot of players out of the rotation. He's going to have the opportunity to get extended minutes. I mean, we were seeing a lot of play from Malcolm Miller, who usually never gets any run in regular time for the Toronto Raptors. So Norman Powell's going to have an elevated role with Van Vliet out and Serge Ibaka out and Kyle Lowry out tonight. But the main reason that I want to bring him up, and he's not going to make it, he's an honorable mention, I guess, for one of the segment pieces, but he brought the jelly to the NBA. And if you guys aren't familiar with the jelly, it's an art of finishing a layup. When you go up, you kind of cock the ball back as if you're going to dunk. Maybe you bring it up to your shoulder and then finish with a sweet finger roll. And Norman Powell, just like Pascal Siakam, his counterpart, they like attacking the rim aggressively, and they like running the fast break. And Norman Powell, he saw a lane, he went for it and finished with a sweet jelly layup. And that was exciting to see. He's not in a very exciting game. He's not making the segment pieces, but Norman Powell, let me know what you think. Did he impress you tonight, and can he keep this up now that he's probably going to have the opportunity to play more minutes? I think it's possible, actually, that we'll see Norman Powell elevate his game. That's always been the issue, I think, is role confusion. And I say this very often, but I think that Norman Powell is a player that I think he will benefit from having a more defined role on the Toronto Raptors team. He's going to need to score. They're going to need his offensive productivity, especially in a night like tonight. And he thrived. So will he keep this going or will he not? Let me know. But continuing on, we said LeBron finally didn't win in Toronto land. And they were able to contain him more or less. He's been on a absolute scoring tear or an all-around tear. Usually, I think he's been averaging almost a triple-double since the playoff break. Tonight, only 29 points. I say only 29 points, but only 29 points. But the real highlight for the defensive end for the Toronto Raptors was the ability to limit Kyle Kuzma in 30 minutes of play to only 7 points. Right, he's just coming off an extended stretch from injury that he hasn't been playing, but he is consistently and reliably a 20-point or more points per game player. And for the matchups tonight to really work, and you could see if you were watching the game that the Toronto Raptors were tuned in defensively. And they stopped a really credible scoring threat in Kyle Kuzma tonight. And that was really fantastic to see. And again, it's nothing to really brag about. It's nothing to write home and tell your mom about, that the Toronto Raptors were able to handle a game against the struggling and absolutely dismal Los Angeles Lakers. But you also have to think the Raptors just got blown out against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So it goes to show, if you're not tuned in, if you're not locked in for any given night, it doesn't matter what the team is that you're up against. You can easily be defeated, and you can easily lose by 20-plus points. And all credit to Colin Sexton and the guys. I mean, they had a good game as well, but they definitely shouldn't have lost that. But moving on to the positives. We'll skim through the players really quick. Siakam, an absolute legend in the Rising, and nobody can deny that. And the sad part, I guess, about Pascal Siakam's obvious emergence into the league is that finally everybody else, even the people that aren't exposed, which is basically everybody else that watches the NBA, including the media, but basically everybody else who isn't a Toronto Raptors fan, he's no longer a sweet little secret. He's no longer the guy that's going to be able to dominate a game. Everybody's aware of him. He's on the scouting report. He's considered a top 2 or 3 option, I guess, for the Toronto Raptors. So night in and night out, he's going to be challenged, and they're going to pick apart his game, and they're going to find the defensive or his offensive flaws, and they're going to exploit that on defense. Tonight, while he really struggled from the field, only 18%, 3 of 16, still had, I think, he still had 16 points on the game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. I was watching the entire game, and I really wasn't paying attention, I guess, to the amount of shots that he missed from the field, because it really looked to me like he scored in every opportunity. I was thinking, wow, this guy's incredible. Like, he's exploiting every matchup thrown at him. It really seems impossible to stop Pascal Siakam from bullying his way down underneath the basket and then finishing his shots. And lo and behold, you look at the box score and it tells a completely different story. But this is just one of those times where stats don't tell everything. And if you're watching the game, he can dominate the court. And it's really cool to see. So Pascal Siakam had himself a game. Kawhi Leonard, as always, 25 points. The team leader tonight. He had a couple of really good defensive matchups against LeBron James. A couple of good steals. Really, we're lucky to have this guy on the team, because Kawhi Leonard does it all, and he's gonna always be that guy. He's gonna be that guy. If he's playing and they win, you know that really he's probably the reason that they won. And then there's always gonna be another player that steps up and they'll probably command more of the time in the podcast talking about them. But at the end of the day, Kawhi Leonard, he does everything. He does all the things that he's supposed to do, and it's really lucky. And I sound a bit like a fangirl here now, and it's because this is a game that not that much happened. Again, this is against the Los Angeles Lakers team, and they should have got this win. And then that's what the Toronto Raptors went out and did tonight. But Kawhi Leonard, I'm faithful that he's going to be able to do good things in the playoffs, especially coming up big in games, regardless of how the team record is, and coming up big against LeBron-type players, and specifically LeBron in this game. So before we swing into the segments, 2 more points. Gasol, finally playing well. Some people are actually having their doubts now, saying that they would have rather kept JV. They would have kept Jonas Valanciunas, and that is a nice thought to have, because JV is an immortal Raptor now. He's going to go down as one of the nicer players that we've ever had on the team. But I think unarguably it's a little bit, it's misguided to say that Gasol is not an improvement from what we had before, and it was going to take him time to adjust. And tonight he played really well. Moreland, we saw him for the first time. People are saying maybe we should have kept Greg Monroe instead, or re-signed Greg Monroe after cutting him. or Jody Meeks. There's just a lot of questioning in what the Raptors are doing to try to fill in that final roster spot. And I don't think that it's really important. I think that this is just a filler piece for Serge Ibaka while he's suspended. And we're not going to see very much run from him once he comes back. But you know what? Take it or leave it. And with that being said, moving to the segments. Why you doing like that has got to go to the man known as Kawhi Leonard. The honorary title person of the segment, Kawhi Leonard, with, I guess, a runner, I don't know what you would consider it, or a floater from 3 to close the half, buzzer beater. And it doesn't get sweeter than that, and you can't ask why you do him like that in a better situation than Kawhi Leonard. Why do you do him like that? It was finessed. It had everybody in the crowd hyped, excited. A 3-pointer buzzer beater off 1 foot over 2 defenders to end the half. It's storybook. It was really nice. It could have only been better if it was perhaps a game winner or a buzzer beater in the 4th quarter. But not all plays can be the Kawhi you do 'em like that play of the day, and some just make you say, "Oh geez." And tonight's play that made me say, "Oh geez," was definitely he's a two-time Shaqtin' a Fool winning MVP or Shaqtin' a Fool MVP, JaVale McGee. And he jumped up with a Zion Williams-esque block, or he's even done it himself before. I can't remember the team he was against. But he catches the ball midair, going up for a block. But instead of blocking it and sending the ball back in typical blocking fashion, he just catches the ball with his huge palms, clear goaltend. And it made me say, oh, geez, because he's a guy you should know. When the ball's on the way down, leave it be. But I guess he gets caught up. He wants those highlight blocks. And finally, finish it off, the one, the only, the DeMar Carroll Gold Star Award for worst performance of the night. And not just performance, it holds multiple definitions, and I can't really think of anything tonight. So I'll pose it to you guys. If you listen this far, what would be a DeMar Carroll Gold Star Award? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Danny Green. He didn't, he actually played pretty well. I don't know. Let me know if you guys think. And if, drop my phone. I'm not going to edit that out either. If you made it this far, like, subscribe, and I might re-edit, actually. I'm going to say this right now. Check out Courtside Connect. It's officially launched. I'm going to link the account in the description. It's really exciting videos. We're getting fully into it. Daily show, all NBA. If you like us, you'll love this. So watch it. But if you made it this far, like and subscribe to all the Raptors good stuff. Check us out on Twitter. We love you guys. Yeah, that's it. Cheers.